Hello everyone. I am sad that we are starting this lesson apart from each other because it includes the plays that I know many of you really wanted to do. So I'm hoping when we return we can revisit some of these and you guys will be able to do the plays. So this is lesson 5. It's comparing and contrasting characters in drama. And our learning target for this lesson is when you compare and contrast what characters in a drama do and say, you can better understand how they move the story along. So it says, in a drama or play, you can learn about characters by reading or listening to the spoken dialogue between the characters. You can also read the stage directions, which are short notes that tell what a character is doing on stage. You can get to know characters better by comparing and contrasting them. Identify what the characters do and say to each other, how they act, and how they look. So we have a cartoon below. It says, read the cartoon below, think about what the girl and boy look like, how they act, and how they interact with each other. Okay, so we have what looks to be their teacher. And she is saying, partners, I want you to work together to identify a topic for your science project. The girl is saying, I think we should research penguins. What do you think? And the boy is saying, I am tired of doing work. Okay, so we're going to compare and contrast them. Diagram here. They've labeled and given us some traits. Okay, so the girl only, the boy only, and then we're going to have both of them. Now, it wants to use comparing and contrasting. How are the boy and girl in cartoon similar or different? What do they say and what do they do? Okay, so we're going to use kind of the short dialogue they did and the picture to see what they're doing. So the girl, they gave the traits as confident and organized. The boy, they said unsure and disorganized. Okay, and they say that because if you look at the picture, okay, the girl's stuff, she has a book here, paper, okay, and another pamphlet here. The boy's stuff is kind of scattered all around his desk there. Okay, so let's look at their actions and their interactions. So the girl was doing what? Well, she suggested a topic. She said, I think we should research penguins. So we are going to say, this is one of her actions, suggests a topic. Okay. What else is she doing in this picture? Okay. Compare their posture, meaning how they're sitting. She's kind of upright more, ready to work, and the boy's kind of slumped over. So we're going to say that her actions, okay, suggests a topic. We're going to say that her actions, she is also sitting up straight. So sits up straight. Okay. So now the boy, he's kind of doing the opposite. The girl said, I think we should research penguins. What do you think? The boy said, I'm tired of doing work. So he replies negatively. So replies, okay, with a negative comment. So please remember to pause these videos if you're not quite up to speed with what I am writing. That is totally fine to pause it and keep going. For the sake of length, that is why I don't have too many pauses in here, because some of you write a lot faster than others. Some like to make sure you have every single word I put, and that's great. But unfortunately, I don't want the videos to be super, super long so that you guys are bored sitting there. I'm trying to make them the best that I can so that you guys are engaged and, learning these topics so when we come back, we can come back and review them. All right, so the boy, he replies with a negative comment, and then we talked about his posture. He's not sitting up straight. He's kind of, he leans over in his chair. If we look at the expressions on their face, okay, on page 92, you're looking, the boy's face is kind of unhappy, tired, and the girl's kind of like ready to go. Okay? Now, what similarities can we take from this picture? Well, what are the obvious things? They are in the same class, okay? And sometimes it is okay to take that very obvious answer. So they are in the same class. let's take a look here. We have a play. And I'm so bummed out that I can't hear your lovely voices doing this because I have some of you that you guys have fantastic accents and I do not know how you do it. So I'm just going to read this play. It's called King Alfred. Now, when you see a play, they usually have a list of characters. They have the setting. Okay, so cast of characters, we have Alfred, he's an English king. Cudred, an old peasant man. And Switha, an old peasant woman. And the setting is a humble cottage on a freezing night. So small, basically house. Now, what they were talking about before, the stage directions and things like this. So if we were to act this out, okay, Alfred, it says knocks at the cottage door. Cudred is saying it suspiciously. Okay, those are the directions to lead the character into how they are supposed to act. All right, so it starts with our narrator. It is January 871. Danish warriors have invaded England. Alfred, an English king, has been separated from his army, but seeks to rejoin them. Hello! May a traveler find safety on this cold night? How do I know you are not some Dane in disguise? I promise thee, my friend, I am no Dane. I am their sworn enemy. Oh, very well then, but you must sleep in the barn, not in the cottage. I suppose you must be hungry then. Oh, yes, I'd thank you for a crust of even the coarsest bread. Bread? Bread is a luxury. We only have lowly oaten cakes here. Oaten cakes? I have always wished to taste an oaten cake. My wife, I've brought a guest to share our supper. What? Who is this man? Why should I feed a beggar? We are not so poor that we must refuse food to the hungry. You soft-hearted fool, you will bring us to ruin, as has our cowardly king. We must care for each other, Switha. Otherwise, what are we? The barn is small and cold, but it will keep you safe. For a traveler in my condition, your barn is a palace. I thank you. Sir, your speech is that of a nobleman. Are you an earl in disguise? Good sir, I am Alfred, thy king. I am in hiding from the invading Danes, but soon I shall rejoin my army and set our country free. My king, sir, let us return to the cottage. Okay, so we have our close reader habits here. This is when you reread the drama, underline any words or actions that make each character stand out. So you want to find things that basically are telling us about how the character is as a person. Okay, when you go back through, there's only a few things that you need to find. I will not be looking at this per se, but please try to find some things that make each character stand out because they will help you understand what I'm about to explain for the Venn diagram. All right, so we have a Venn diagram similar to the one we had about the boy and the girl. Well, now we have Alfred, we have Cudred, and we have both. We have to fill in the traits and their actions. And this is why I told you to underline some stuff. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through and underline. I will explain them verbally because it says, look at what you underlined about what the characters say and do. Okay, so I will explain them verbally. So do not worry about it if you didn't find all of them or you're not entirely sure. Okay, so Alfred, let's start with him. Well, what do we know about Alfred? He is the king, so that makes him noble. Okay, Cudred had said you speak of a nobleman. Okay, that is someone who is higher up. We also know that Alfred is thankful. Okay, and we know this from the line that says, your barn is a palace. I thank you. Okay, so he must have been out there for a while and couldn't really find any place to stay. So any place that he found, it was like a palace to him. He was very thankful to have found a couple that would let him stay, even if it was in the barn. Okay, what do we know about his actions? Well, in the beginning when they are first talking, we don't know who he is. and he is questioned about, how do we know you're not the Danes? Okay, because there must be a war going on. And he says, okay, and this is one of his actions that we're going to include and that you could have underlined. He says he is an enemy of, oops, my of went a little in the air here, of the Danes. So he's saying he's an enemy of the Danes. What do we know about his interactions and what else he kind of does here? Do they recognize him as the king? No, because if they had recognized him as the king, Cudred's wife there would not have called him a hungry beggar. Okay, so we know that he is wearing a disguise. So he disguises himself. Okay, but then he tells who he is. So he may be disguised, but he tells who he is afterwards, because Cudred is like, you speak like a nobleman. And so he paused and he was like, well, I'm King Alfred. Kind of nonchalant, meaning like, no big deal. I'm the king. Okay? So Cudred, he is what? Well, he's the one who's giving Alfred all of these things. So we can use a great 5th grade word here. Instead of saying nice, okay, we're going to say he is generous. And we can say he is also welcoming, because this is a stranger. And he's like, well, you're not staying in the cottage, but I do have room for you in the barn if you would like to stay. He asks him, says he supposes he is hungry, so he offers him some food. So he is generous and he is welcoming. Now, what are his actions? Okay, well, he gives Alfred a place to stay. So he gives Alfred a place to stay. Gives bread. Okay, so he gets him some bread. Even though they might be a poor family, he is able to spare it. He gives some bread. And he tells his wife, just for easier spelling for you all, tells his wife they must care for others. Okay, this is something that we all should do. We should all live by. Okay, this is a play, but this is a true fact. We must care for others. Okay, when you see someone down, care for them. Okay, see how they're doing. Reach out to your friends. Okay, I know you guys all have those technology means. See how you guys are doing. I don't mind if you guys talk about these lessons or you ask each other questions. You can do that. You can communicate. Okay? Now, what are they both? Well, we both know they dislike who? The enemy here, who are the Danes. So they dislike the Danes. And it seems that they are then both Englishmen. Okay, they're both Englishmen. Okay, so just like the first Ready New York lessons, this is going to be broken into 2 parts. I'm going to walk you through these sections, and then I am going to do the short response on a separate video so that you guys are able to hear the instructions and see how it is broken down. So when you return, find the short response video. It will be called Lesson 5 Short Response, page 98. That is where the short response is located. Okay, so I will see you on the short response lesson.